Hey folks, welcome back. So today we are back over in this hayfield where we got the fence in, I guess it would have been like a couple weeks ago at this point. And we're down here at the far end where we had to rip out a few trees that they were in the way for where we were putting stuff in, or they were dead and hanging out or whatever. They needed to come out before we put the fence in. And one of them is, it's kind of in the shadow, but it's this guy right through here. And this is actually a black walnut. And it's not a huge one. It's maybe a foot, 12, 14 inches down at the base, and then up at the top it's maybe 10 inches, something like that. But it's big enough, I thought, well, I'll try and mill it and see what I can get out of it. Now, as you can probably tell, it's kind of wonky. We got curves going in every which way. And the gnats are terrible out today. But I think we're gonna have to cut this into at least 4 pieces. We might even have to do 5 to get them so that they're straight enough within a given section that I'll actually be able to get something out of them. But I'm not entirely sure. The first step is we're gonna cut off a section down here at the end, which we've got a little bit of a crotch down here. So we're gonna cut it off right around in there. We'll get one up there. And then up here at the other end, we've got a semi-straight piece that kind of goes up to somewheres around in there. So we're going to cut those off, and then we'll kind of evaluate what's left and see what we're going to have to cut that into. Alright, so before we start milling up the black walnut logs, we're actually going to do a few cherry logs. Now, these are some from a neighbor up the road, and he actually brought these down here, I think it was back in July. And he made the mistake of saying that there was no rush on getting them milled, so here we are now into October, and we're finally getting around to them. Now, we just have 3 of them to do, and for the most part, this stuff is getting milled up into just 1 by whatever we can get out of it. Boards, no live edge, nothing like that. Although with the one log that has the crotch on it, what we're gonna do is we're splitting that one in half, and then we're cutting off the end that has the crotch on it, and then he's going to keep those 2 pieces as bowl blanks for doing some wood turning with. Alrighty, so next up, we are going to see what we can do with these 4 walnut logs that came from over in the hayfield. This one, and that one should be pretty decent to mill, but this one right here, it's got a double curve in it, and I may have mentioned this before, so I don't know if we're going to be able to mill that one as is, or we might end up cutting that one in half and then just having some like 3.5 foot long boards or something. I don't know. We'll see. All right, last log, and I think as you can see, I decided to cut that one that was all squiggly, cut that into two about 3.5 foot long logs there, and the second one was a little bit, it was hanging on by just a thread to be able to span the two log bunks there, but it was just barely enough. I went really slow because, of course, as you're pushing the saw through, it is putting some force on the log to kind of get pushed down the length of the track. So I had to be really careful that I didn't push too hard and have it fall off of the bunk on the upper side here. But got those all milled up, so we'll get this last one done and we'll see what all we got. Alrighty folks, well that is gonna do it. We got all four, well, I guess all 5 of them now that we cut the one into 2 pieces. All 5 of these things all milled up, and they're kind of stickered. They really need a few more stickers in this, and I'll add those back in later, but for now it gets it spaced apart so they can start drying out a little bit. And before you guys ask, I really have no idea what I'm going to use all this for, but it just seemed a shame to not do anything with it because they were big enough to mill. So I milled them, and I'll figure out a use for them later. So that is going to be it for this week's video. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.